it. So I think this is kind of widespread, and it's become pretty mainstream over social media without really enough of us kind of looking at whether the fundamental question is, do we actually have a low testosterone epidemic, and to what extent is that actually true or not?
It's a really good thought piece for you. Before we get in, I mean, this sort of first principles, what is testosterone? What is it?
Well, testosterone is it's a steroidal hormone. It's essentially what gives men the masculine traits. I should say here, and really want to emphasize it, I am a reporter and not a doctor, so please take any medical information with a massive dollop of salt. But yeah, essentially, testosterone, it's in both men and women, but when men go through puberty, you get a massive spike in testosterone, and it gives you increased muscle mass and bone density and facial hair and makes your voice drop, that kind of stuff. And the reality is that there's a big range among men of what a normal healthy range is. Without getting too technical, they measure it in these things, nanomoles per litre here in the UK. But essentially, there's quite a broad range, and it spikes when you're a teenager, and then when you hit kind of 30s and 40s, it very slowly starts to taper off a tiny bit in most studies. Men don't go through a menopause, so we don't have a big drop. When you hit 40s, it's much more of a slow decline.
And that's a very important point, actually, what you just said there is the use of testosterone therapy for menopausal women in terms of raising libido and in terms of addressing bone density and things like that. That is a very real and very legitimate sort of medical point of discussion at this point in time, right?
Oh, it's a huge point of discussion, and I think for this investigation, it was very clear that I couldn't do both. Yeah, they're so different, and the treatment of women with menopausal symptoms and perimenopausal symptoms is a whole other subject, and we could talk about that another time. But yeah, for this, it was very much the focus was on men who are struggling with their weight or with their mental health or with mood or erectile dysfunction, some of these other things. Is the culprit testosterone, or is there something else going on?
Yeah.
And if you go out to these companies, a lot of them are in the business of telling you that you've got low T.
So, you were talking before about how testosterone, adolescent men get a sudden rush of testosterone, and this leads to long-standing changes in their bodies. Testosterone is often sort of thought of, I feel like, in the wider culture, as being like the man hormone, the masculine hormone. And I wonder if that is kind of lurking in the background of this. Low T kind of being almost synonymous, like a dog whistle, but not a man, not a real man. And whether that is sort of an insecurity in young and middle-aged men that these companies are exploiting.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. I think the anxieties here they mirror a broader anxiety around our health, but they also mirror this kind of question we've had in society of okay, when can men be men? How masculine are men supposed to be? There's been an interesting kind of debate been going on in kind of academic circles over the last few years over, does testosterone, for example, make young boys behave violently? Does it make them competitive in a different way from women? And there are different views on that, but it's undeniable that testosterone does affect and change behaviour in certain ways. But yeah, I think when we try and separate what's actually happening medically from what's happening culturally, it's very clear that a lot of the cultural discussion, when you see these political figures, when you see these kind of figures on the right or in the manosphere talking about it, what they're really talking about is something cultural and this idea of like alpha males, rather than someone who has a diagnosable hormone deficiency, a hormone problem, right? But it's that's a nuanced debate to get into with guys, and it's very easy. If you guys in their 30s or 40s and they're kind of hitting a bit of a slump and they're